Hi everybody, we're here for another set, and today we have to continue because in the next few months, you know what's happening in the world, and voting is just so important. That's why I have a special guest for you today to help you learn and educate you on this whole process and also tell you personally what they feel and what's going on. So we keep it real here with you. And here's my special guest, Ms. LaShawn Henry.
Yes, how you doing? Thank you,
And
Gina.
bless you so much for being here.
I appreciate you
at
having
your busy
me.
schedule.
Thank you so much. Yes, hello everyone. My name is LaShawn Henry. I am currently a district leader in Harlem in the 68th Assembly District, Part D. I'm born and raised in Harlem, USA. Okay. I've been an advocate, a fighter, and just an organizer for the village of Harlem for the last 25 years. I serve on several community boards and different boards, and I'm really excited to be here.
I'm excited too.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We need expertise.
Yes.
And 25 years, that sounds like that to me. That's definitely,
thank you.
You know, what we're talking about here.
Thank you.
And particularly Harlem, because Harlem is something that has a lot of our spirituality, a lot of our sounds, our jazz, our hip hop, or whatever. And it's just so many problems there going on, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
As far as just things being so high. And
absolutely.
What's your input on that? What do you think about that?
I mean, that's definitely an issue, and that's something that I take heart to. One of the things that I've done on the community board, because like I said, I've been on the community board for like 16 years. This would be my 8th reappointment to the community board. Community board is made up of 50 people that are either appointed by the borough president or the city council members. I was appointed by the borough president, and I'm happy and very excited to continue the work that I do on the community board. I was former land use chair. I was the land use chair for Community Board 11 for about maybe 10, 11 years. And during that time, making sure that our community had opportunities in the form of these new developments, right? Yeah. Because gentrification, people think that gentrification just recently knocked on our door. We've been facing gentrification for a long time. Right, and so one of my priorities was to make sure that we educated the community on gentrification and how to mitigate it, right? Because sometimes there are things you just cannot have total control over, but you can mitigate them. Yes, and so one of the ways we mitigated them is that we made sure people knew what new developments was coming up, what they needed to do to apply for those new developments, and then we made sure that whoever the developer was who was putting up this new development put money into the pot so that our folks could have financial workshops and courses and be absolutely prepared to go into those new units. And we were very successful in that. And I just think that it's very, very important that we prepare our community, because if we don't, we're not going to be here. And like you said, Harlem is the culture, is the sounds, the music, the swag, all those things is Harlem, and no one wants to leave their home after we've been through so many different situations, so many different things that have happened, in our communities, like the crack epidemic, drugs, all kinds of things. And gangs. That's right, gangs. And we have survived. But it's time for our community to thrive, right? It is time for us to thrive.
We should have been thriving.
That's right. It is time for us to thrive. Yes. And so we want to make sure that we hold our political folks accountable, that we hold our community advocates accountable, our churches, our places of worship, to make sure that people understand that we're not just going to sit around and wait till something's given to us. We have to take what we need.
Absolutely.
We have to take what we want.
Everybody else does it.
That's right. That's right. Correct? Yeah, that's right. And one of the things, the most important thing that people need to do is to vote. And I know people say, why do I have to vote? You know, it doesn't make a difference, but it does. Because if you remember the Bush election, where it was just one vote that determined that he became our president. So it is very, very important. And then if you need any other excuse to vote, just look at the person we have in office right now.
Yes.
You know, I mean, that should get everybody out to vote. And voting is something that is essential to us. It is so essential. Your vote is your voice. If you don't vote, you can't talk about what's not happening in your community because you're not using your voice. And this is the most effective way to use your voice. As I go through my community and I talk to community leaders and residents of the community, and I'm just going to, a specific case where in Nicha, the public housing at Nicha, you know, going through all of those.
It's just horrific, the things that I've been seeing.
Horrific.
And I know that for a fact, being in Nicha, knowing that they don't do their best at all.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. So, you know, and it's really important for the Nicha residents to make a lot of noise, to bring about change. It's not going to happen just relying on politicians. It's not going to happen just relying on lawsuits. You have to vote. Because I tell my residents in East Harlem that the people south of 96th Street are not complaining about no hot water and no heat because they're voting, right? And if you don't vote, this is what happens. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it's really unfortunate, but you know, I see a change. There's been, because everything is not.
You think that they're about 100% for the voting, but the problem is that they're passing away.
Right, they are. They are passing away, and we have
the younger people, the youth.
Right, but we have a lot of elderly folks that are shut-ins, that are not mobile, you know, and, you know, just making sure that we reach out to them, make sure they get absentee ballots, and make sure that they know what's going on. Because if you think about, you know, some elderly folks, some of them have home attendants, and a lot of them are not mobile. You know, we do have a lot of very, very active, you know, seniors, but I am concentrating really on the seniors that, you know, have little or no mobility, you know, to make sure that they're informed about what's happening and what's going on in the community so they can be a part of it.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yes.
I know years ago we used to have active members, Mrs. Sarah Martin, who, you know, took time out to actually, and also because she was from the area and knew everybody. That's right. Would take time out to make sure that the parties for the kids would go successful. Yes. And you have a few people that do that, but as you know, you have more that, I mean, they don't have kids or whatever the case may be, so they don't care about who's going to help out for the Halloween party or who's going to send the donations. I mean, and I seen it with my own eyes. Then the other problem is that we as a people, we won't stick together and we allow these negative things to occur. Right. Which other people wouldn't stand for it.
That's right.
They would hit the street, and now when you go in the supermarket and the bottle of water is $1, and then tomorrow when you go back it's $1.50, nobody says, what happened? What? Right. Why is the same bottle 50 cents more? We're so passive about that.
We seem to accept a lot of things that nobody else accepts. And, you know, I consistently and constantly tell people that they're worth it. Yes. You are worth it. You know, you have a right not to accept not having hot water or heat in your house. You have a right to say this is unacceptable.
Absolutely.
This is absolutely unacceptable.
I would hit the ceiling if it was going on.
Yes.
If one day or something they're fixing the pipes or something like that. But so far
there's been 2 weeks. There's been times where I've received calls over and over again. You know, and not only hot water and heat, you know,
this is how
rat infestation, lead, mold.
That rat problem, I mean, don't get me wrong, because that's something that, and they have the right to be here too. You know what I mean? Because when I think about things and I think about the outside sources, they all have a part in the environment and they clean up other things. But when they run rapidly, there's a problem.
And then when they're running around our children.
Giuliani, he took the time to go ahead and get things, you know, controlled.
Right.
And then, so that's something that I'm thinking every mayor, when they get in office, that should be something that should be arranged.
Yes.
And yes, you do have children out there and pets and animals, but it has to be done. It's something that has to be done.
Absolutely.
So if the signs have to go up, stay off the grass or whatever.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
put it around so we can kill it, and kill it up in all the water areas where they really thrive.
Right.
And because we have the Hudson and these water supplies and the rivers in New York, so then they, you know, but here's the thing. This always been.
Right.
And it's never been so rapid.
Right. But we definitely need to control it, right?
And even the garbage control.
Yes.
Maybe we're not burning it, so maybe that's the problem.
Right. It's
but
out
the
of
burning
control.
is messing up the pollution.
Yes.
Figure out a way. The technology is here now.
Absolutely.
Things can be done.
That's right. That's right. Technology is here.
How can they call you to share,
So,
you know?
My number is 646-372-2195. My email is lhenry422@gmail.com. I just can't implore on people enough about voting. And, you know, I was telling Gina that I recently went through a situation where I was a candidate for Senate in the 30th District right here in Harlem. And I was removed from the ballot, not because of anything that was wrong with my petition, but because there was an archaic law that my opponent used to have me removed from the ballot. So we need to make sure that everyone has access to the ballot and that no one is able to remove anybody from the ballot, because everybody deserves an opportunity to run, and more importantly, everybody deserves a choice, right? So removing me from the ballot left nobody to oppose him, and so they get to walk back into a seat that the community or the district did not say, we think that you're capable, or we think that we want you to represent us. So there's no accountability, and that's so important, because, you know, as many of you guys know and understand, that we have so many problems in this community,
and
so many
I
issues.
Think we need a woman to look at things, because we usually
we get things done
around things that are going to help our children, help
other women. Yes.
And this women business is really serious right now.
Absolutely.
Because we've been being forced.
Our reproductive rights are, you know, they're being challenged.
It's just really, nobody's practicing the law or the Constitution. Of course, women have the right to be successful.
That's right. And to represent the community.
And we have to change
representation. Right. It's about representation.
Absolutely. And we got to change the way that we think.
That's right. We do. We absolutely do.
Men don't know all of the answers, and neither do women. But women have to also get their fair shake and chance to coincide with the men to make things better.
Absolutely.
And we certainly don't have enough women out there to really put things into the proper perspective.
Right.
And so we're suffering. She's suffering. She's doing nothing but coming to the community with her best and helping to change, make the kind of change that we really need. And we can't backhand her or close the door in her face. This is not acceptable. So what we want to do is make sure that we do things correctly and we give people a chance.
Absolutely. And we give the community a choice.
Right. Because
we hold
the
people
thing
accountable.
Is, people have the right to vote and select who they want. You cannot be so big that you take away and just only allow yourself to run. Or that's like swiping votes, you know, basically.
It's voter suppression.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And that we can't tolerate. We can't tolerate it on any forum.
That's right.
Not high or low.
That's right.
We have to make sure that the community and the world at large, we get the best person possible that the people want.
That's right. That the people
Not
vote
other
in.
government, other officials, but what the people want and what the people say.
Right. Absolutely.
That's the thing that matters. And when we say that, we give thanks to all the people that are working for us, because we know that we have to start somewhere, but we can do better, y'all. So let's not have that kind of nonsense happen again. If it's a law, then we need to look at that and maybe reevaluate that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And whoever's at the table to make a friendly change or to do something that, to me, that just seems so sensible.
Right. Well, I mean, some of the things that I am doing is that I am focusing on to making sure that this doesn't happen to anybody ever again, right? And there are such archaic laws that definitely need to be changed. You know, women need to be able to represent their constituency, their communities, their districts, just like anybody. And, you know, if there's an incumbent who's running, that incumbent should, you know, welcome a challenge.
Absolutely.
Right? Because if you're doing such a good job, welcome the challenge.
Absolutely. I remember before, years ago, when somebody put Archie Bunker on there and so forth and so forth.
Yes,
you know,
on the signatures, right?
Yeah. So I mean, that now
Right.
because it's a woman, so take her off. No, that's not right.
Right.
So we have to keep an eye on these kind of things that you may think it's nothing, but if you keep on doing these kind of actions, this shows that we're taking women backwards.
Right.
And we don't need to be going backwards.
Well, one of the things that I know very well about women is that we are fighters. And
Absolutely.
we do not give up.
That's right.
We are fighters, whether it's fighting for our rights or fighting for the rights of our men.
Yeah.
Women are standing at the forefront. And we will continue to do that, and I will continue to fight for my community.
Right.
Yes.
And that compassion, too, from the heart.
Yes, yes.
You know, we don't always think in terms of, okay, so, let's go to war.
Right.
We don't think that way.
Right.
We have that thing that we can have dialogue.
Absolutely.
That we can speak and we can work it out.
Negotiate.
We can negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody can win.
Absolutely.
Because it doesn't have to be the way that it is right now, where these people have it set up. Greed, greed, greed,
Right.
greed, greed.
Right.
Because, I mean, honestly, in Harlem, everywhere you go, they're building something, they're putting up something.
Yes,
But the economy says, I mean, from what I see,
Right.
my pocket never gets that full.
Right.
How about yours?
No,
Can we
mine
afford these
doesn't
things? What is the big deal?
Well, they're not being built for us. That's the problem,
Yeah.
right? They're not being built for us. Most folks, depending on where you live in Harlem, you know, your income is lower than some of these developments require. You know, like in East Harlem, for a family of 4, it's $35,000, and you have to make $40,000 to $50,000 to even get in to one of these developments.
Absolutely.
So they're not building these developments for us.
Right.
One of the things we have done on the community board is that we've been able to, you know, pressure the city and our local city council people to incorporate additional subsidies. So we target those very people that have been left out.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, because something is really wrong about that. You know.
Something is wrong.
And they building them up every day as if like, and then the price for them is just outrageous.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're talking about $1 million points this or $1 million,
Absolutely.
you know.
And then, I mean, what's going to happen to
and it's not
our
even
kids?
a house.
Right.
Yeah, it's not even a house.
Right.
Where you can go New Jersey, Connecticut,
Right.
Long Island, or whatever, and have a backyard, a front yard,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Now, the other side is that for the elderly people, you already initiated and pointed out in their direction, so they're really lost.
They are.
Are they going to just throw the older people out
Well,
because the people
we're absolutely not going to let that happen.
Right,
absolutely
because
not going to let that happen. There is a focus on senior housing because we know they have a very limited income, you know, but we have to make sure that the seniors are aware that this is out here. A lot of seniors, they just want to age in place, especially in public housing. They don't want to leave. They've been there for generations. And so it's just really important to make sure that we inform people about what's going on. You know, one of the things, Gina, I mean, this is just another vulnerable population, you know, the formerly incarcerated, right?
Oh, wow, forget about it.
Yes, the formerly incarcerated who are coming out, right, who are coming out of jail and are headed right to the homeless shelters.
Exactly.
We have to do something. You know, those are our moms, our fathers, our sisters, our brothers, our cousins. Those are the people that we need to welcome back into the community. Or where else are they going to go?
Well, they can't even come to public housing because they don't allow that now.
Well, public housing now, they do have a reentry program for folks who were living in Nicha. You know, it's an application process. You have to, you know, apply for it. But things are definitely changing, and that's one of the wonderful things that that Nicha has done, because we don't want to just beat up on Nicha, but Nicha has
and it's good and bad. When I get away, I was away for a long time, it's okay. But here's the thing, being in Harlem, not being able to find another place in Harlem, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's right.
Because say when you're working, but if you go out sick or you face disabilities, if you have to fight with cancer or whatever like that, and your income is dropped,
there's no place for you to go. There's no place for you to go. You
just gotta, say your prayers and hope that you could get, win, because you don't want to be helpless, and then you don't want to go down south either, because they always having these storms and hurricanes, and you know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
I mean, don't get me wrong, because I love the South family.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's just like, because of all of the negative things that we do in the community here, that when we throw it up in the universe, all of this pollution and all of this stuff, and it causes the cause and effect of all of these extra storms. We never had storms like this all the time.
We haven't. And the rains and the sea levels that are rising.
It's just, down south, you never had this kind of thing. You might have some rain, a little bit, but the thing come tearing up the whole house and tearing up the thing, and
the hurricanes,
your cars and everything destroyed.
Puerto Rico was devastated. Just recently, Florida and Florence was devastated. I mean, it's really something that if we don't get a hold of it, it's just going to destroy. It's going to destroy the planet.
And we won't even accept it. We got people
who
that's
are
up top on the level, and they say it's no such a thing.
Right. Exactly.
Are they kidding?
Right. But we just have to do what we can where we are,
exactly, and
to make sure, just to make sure that we don't continue to add to this climate culture that is definitely not going to keep us on this earth for a long time.
Right, and we're not going to win.
That's right, we're not. Oh no,
we can't win.
We're not.
If it's too hot, we die.
That's right.
If it's too cold,
we die. Exactly.
So there is no. Like, we can't get in the middle and play the middleman.
That's right.
There's no such thing.
That's right.
We have to do what's right so that the universe can do what's right by us.
That's right. That's right.
And that's another problem, too. Yes. Because the smells, even sometimes when you walk in the street.
Yeah.
The pollution is just so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad like if you go to California or something like that, but even probably over in Hawaii, if they're burning and all these things.
Oh, yeah, from that.
But nobody is doing it. You don't see anybody with trucks and see what they can do.
But you know what? You and I had touched on it before, that we seem to be so distracted. Yeah. Some of us are distracted with drugs, with alcohol, reality TV, whatever our vice is, and it is so important to keep our eye on the prize.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a president that loves to distract us. He's constantly in the news, constantly doing and singing the most egregious, horrific things.
And foolishness.
Yes, and people focus on that. But what we need to focus on are what they're doing to our food. What are they doing to our environment? What are they doing to our rights? What are they doing to these immigrant children? Those are the things we need to focus on.
That really was unconscionable.
Yes.
To be doing it and right in Harlem.
That's right.
Just outrageous.
Yes. Right. Yeah. It definitely. That was something that definitely tugged at our heartstrings. Yeah. And it is wrong on every level.
Absolutely.
But we also have to remember that we have women who are incarcerated who, when they have babies in prison, they're shackled and their babies are removed from them right away. So it happens in our own country to our own citizens as well. Just because you're incarcerated doesn't mean that you're any less of a mother, or that you don't understand that there's a bonding mechanism that needs to take place. And we just have to do better.
Yeah,
we have to do better.
We do.
But everybody needs to vote. Yeah. Voting is so important. Everything's not going to be settled when it comes to voting, or everything is not going to all of a sudden be right. but we're starting that process.
Right.
And that's just so
and
important.
how do you, we only have a few minutes, but we definitely have to bring you back because we didn't get to touch on all of the things that I know that your expertise at. But tell a person why they should vote and how should they vote.
Okay.
What is the reason? Tell them why.
Well, one of the reasons why you want to vote, because politics is local. Everything that happens in our community, whether it's the garbage, whether it's the school, whether all of those things, whether your after-school program gets funding, whether the organization that you love or the place that you work for has money or it has funding, is because you vote. And the voting is, you know, this determines the level of accountability you have for your politicians, right? For our city council folks, we have to make sure that we hold them accountable because they're the ones that have member items and dole out money to different organizations and different places that affect our everyday life. You know, and it's not only voting that we have to do, Gina.
Absolutely.
What we also have to
action.
do, yes, we have to participate in our everyday lives because politicians are not going to do everything, right? They can't do everything. We have to be active participants in our everyday life. We have to get on community boards. We have to get on school boards. We have to join the PTA. We have to get into different organizations, sit on different boards, you know, be a TA president or just be a TA, you know, just be a member, you know, in your building. I mean, it's just important that we get involved and we have a say and we find out what's happening because a lot of times people don't even know what's going on. And when you don't know what's going on, you can't add to it. You can't do anything. You're stuck. And we've been stuck for a long time. And we need to be unstuck. We need to stop surviving and we need to start thriving.
Absolutely. That's the key. And on the high note, I say thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
And I appreciate you being there.
Thank you.
People, take heed, get that information. We see you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
B.E.A.T